Hey guys, I'm gonna start by saying this is probably my favorite build this league so far, and this is kind of pretty simple. This is Cyclone with the Shockwave support, using Marohe's maze, and going champion for the banner. I already talked about the banners and how it's sustainable, but this is mainly using banners. Banners, I just love them, but they do have one big drawback. So I'm getting massive amount of movement speed. I am capping resistances with banners. I'm actually even negative resistances without banners. I'm getting suppression from banners. I'm getting not 100% more damage in this case, but something like 80% more damage from war banner alone. This is also kind of cheap build. I would say this is below 10 Defiance. It doesn't really have anything expensive. It can farm tier 17 maps very easily, at least normal monsters. But when it comes to bossing, it's not the tankiest build. But for me, this is a standard amount of tankiness. All of my builds are pretty much this amount of tankiness. Some are actually even squishier. For me, this feels absolutely fine for farming pretty much anything, at least the way I play it. I did try with the Mageblood, but it was not designed. I pretty much just slapped on Mageblood. I borrowed Mageblood, an elemental ailment immunity thing, and put on some flask and went to do some tier 17 map. And funny thing is, I kind of failed Citadel map, and then I took off the Mageblood, and without the Mageblood I did succeed it. So you don't need Mageblood. I mean, Mageblood kind of fixes your defenses in most cases, and that's what you can do with Mageblood. It's a very expensive fix, but it could greatly improve your defenses and give you a bit more speed. But speed is one of the things that I actually don't even want more speed. Whenever I pick up the speed shrine, it's too fast. It's kind of a weird thing to say. Now, damage wise, this has the Shockwave alone does almost exactly 2 million average hit damage. This is also with Impales, but I'm not sure how much Impale is doing, because Impale in Path of Building is not included into average hit damage for some reason. The Cyclone is like almost 4 million DPS, and this is without Berserker, so it doesn't really have any conditional buffs. You do need to ramp up Rage, but that's very quick, and also drop a vulnerability, and obviously war banner. So yeah, this is very smooth playstyle. You move very quickly with Cyclone, which is the main thing that I wanted to do. Cyclone doesn't have very big AoE anymore, and you kind of want to be able to move fast and be able to reach enemies easier, and this build kind of does that, and it works really well, I would say. This is level 94, and I would really want to reach like 96 at least, because there are some points that I really want to take, but I just ran out of points. Now, the build doesn't really have anything like strange in particular. This is just like champion. You pick up the banner stuff, also impale stuff, the fortify to make a tanker. Adrenaline, more than half of all of my deaths happened because of the main drawback. The main drawback is that every like 2 or 3 seconds, take your eyes off the screen and look at your skill bar. Is the banner active or not? With this build, I pretty much always run in blood stance, and I'm using blood and sand for more area damage. So my AoE is a bit smaller, but this is the size of my banner. I know you cannot see it because it's pretty much off screen, but yeah, that's the edge. The problem is you don't even know exactly when you need to refresh, because sometimes you place the banner while you are inside the banner AoE. Oh, now it expired. Because I am not capped on the res when I don't have banner, it's very dangerous for this build to lose a banner effect, because then I'm not capped on the res and any small amount of hits can easily kill me. And also without the banner, I don't even have suppression. Very risky playstyle, but also this makes it very cheap because you don't need insane gear to cap your resistances and suppression. But the problem is, like, you cannot really exactly know when you need to refresh it, and most of my deaths were because I keep looking at my skill bar, and also ultra wide monitor doesn't help with that, if the banner has like an active banner icon or not. If it doesn't, I need to use it, for example now. Which means I don't see what's happening on the middle of the screen and what enemies are doing. In addition to that, sometimes I would like imagine that I need to refresh the banner and use the banner while I still have the banner effect, which removes the banner, which kind of screws up with the cooldown, which is also bad. Because sometimes you have one banner and then the other banner, and then one expires and then the other one quickly expires, and it's very confusing, and I wouldn't say very tiresome, but it becomes kind of tiresome. But for me, because this is softcore, I don't really care about dying too much. For me, it's fine. Now, the banners are automated with the auto exertion, Geron's Cry, and whatever other war cry you want. I have Intimidating Cry. It does reserve a bit more mana than just one war cry, but it gives you more uptime. And the way you play this, you want to exit the banner AoE. That way you quickly regain a bunch of valor stacks. so you can very easily have 100% uptime on your main banner. But for bossing, like if you activate one, you have to wait a bit, you have to wait for this to ramp up, fully ramp up to 80 and then drop it. So ideally you probably want a bit more duration, which you can improve by adding like enhance in here instead of blood rage. But I am using blood rage because I don't have very high attack speed with the Cyclone. I never run out of Shockwave charges, simply because I don't hit fast enough. So if you want to maximize your single target, people say you can like keep canceling Cyclone, but to me that's kind of dumb. Why take this move skill and make it not smooth if you're gonna be clicking buttons? But you could do that, or you can just get more attack speed. March of the Legion boots are not necessary. They won't really add all that much, so don't stress about getting March of the Legion boots. The upper part, to squeeze in more auras, I am using Owl Surprising. Initially I thought about using Determination in addition to that, but just do more damage instead, and I went with a Pride Reservation. That's like 1 or 2 divines at most, I believe. Yeah, that's like 1 divine. The Maroi is actually like 2 divines, although I did add Tempering Orb, which increases the price now. But Maroi is also, I believe, around 2 divines. Perfidy, the main thing that you want on Perfidy is increased valor. It's still very cheap. A 6 link Perfidy for like 3 divines, and with the increased valor, that's a good deal. Like, I'm using these rings because they just give a lot of damage. The most damage you can get on the rings is probably these, besides like some kind of crazy synthesis rings. Actually, I just noticed that I do not need this Impale on gloves, which I'm not sure what else you could get, like attack speed. As for the passive 3, I am using Impossible Escape, Iron Reflex, because traveling here is many points, and I simply did not want to travel here because there were more important things that I wanted. But Impossible Escape to pick up this and then anoint this, because Fatty Valor is massive. I would even want to take this extra 5 Valor, which would give me a bit more movement speed, not really for the damage but for more movement speed. Then there are a lot of things here that I want, mainly the Banner Masteries and Rage. This is, by the way, non-crit. You do need Warcry CDR, although you could get Warcry tattoos, Warcry CDR tattoos, but this is not a very high life build, so I do not want to lose strength, which would make me lose some life. I do have Watcher's Eye, but that's also cheap Watcher's Eye for Pride, double damage. What is this? Like Fair Chaos. Impossible Escape, I believe, was also cheap. Yeah, Fair Chaos. So like everything is cheap and it works extremely well. In my opinion, a very high damage build with very high mobility, but the annoying part is that you have to keep an eye on your banners. Now the mana could be a big problem until you pick up this one. I do have automation with Steel Skin. Sadly, vulnerability is not instant, so I have to manually cast vulnerability. And Blood Rage is also giving attack speed, which is pretty needed. As for the auras, Pride, obviously, Flesh and Stone, Herald of Purity, and Blood and Sand. But you could squeeze in Determination instead of Flesh and Stone, for example. It wouldn't really be overall much tankier with just Determination, so I'm not sure if that Determination is worth it. You may as well just run in the Sand stance, and Flesh and Stone will provide damage mitigation instead for all hits. So I would say it's very simple and easy to play, but you do need to get used to using banners. You do have 3 seconds of linger effect, so it's not like you immediately lose all the effect as soon as you lose the banner. But AoE is so big that you can like drop a banner, do like the league mechanics, or like do rituals, stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I already have a plan for the next build. It's gonna be Ignite, Chieftain. Probably nothing too special, but I just wanted big explosions for Expedition. So that's probably gonna be my next build unless I figure out something else more interesting. So for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.